All right, I do believe we are live. Good morning, everyone. It is March 2nd of 2026. It's the first day of the month, at least as far as work day, business days go. Been a crazy weekend. I'm pulling up my live stream on my phone, and then we're jumping in. Been a crazy weekend, and we're going to be talking about that. But just in case you're watching this for the first time on the live playback, what I do on this stream, I stream Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes we do end early. We do an overall health check on the crypto market. We look at silver and gold. We look at U.S. stocks. In this week's episode, we're definitely going to be looking at oil. And we also look at the Japanese bond market. Now, all of these things culminate into what we believe is the domino theory. It's going to be what makes XRP go from $1.25, $1.30 up to, who knows, $10, $20, $50 at some point. The higher prices, it's almost like diminishing returns. How much does XRP really need to be after $50, right? That's what we're keeping an eye on. It's in play. Things do seem like they're unwinding before our very eyes. I wish it was happening in a different way. But it is what it is. I try to avoid politics on this channel because we all have different opinions. But unfortunately, given the circumstances, this Iranian missile crisis, whatever you want to call it, is a direct piece of the puzzle for the reverse carry trade. So there's no way to talk about the reverse carry trade without talking about what's going on in Iran. For that reason, I'm doing the best that I can to stay as neutral as I possibly can. I'm about to sneeze. Normally I'd edit that out, but we're live. So there's nothing I can really do about it. We have to be able to talk about it, and I'm going to do the best that I can to be as neutral as possible. Now, there's a good chance, even on this channel, someone's watching this with every possible combination of perspectives on the topic that you can have. And while I do have my own personal opinions on this, I do bear the risk of turning some people off if I share what I really think about what's going on. So I'm going to do the best that I can to just break down how this affects crypto. So we'll get into that after we kind of look through the charts. In the meantime, I'm going to say good morning to everyone, and then we're going to jump straight in. So good morning, Stav. Good morning, Scorpio. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Pat. And good morning to the rest of you. I see we got about 30 in the stream so far. If you could like the stream, that goes a long way. We're just starting out this morning. There's only 2 likes. If you guys could help me get to 10, that lets YouTube know to suggest this stream to people that are on YouTube right now. Help catch the morning news. Good morning, gangsta. I got my coffee. I'm feeling a little bit better. As some of you guys know, I got sick about a week and a half ago, and even though I got better, I felt like I was still a little bit off last week. I feel like I'm finally starting to get back to regular. This happens every spring. I think, the change in the air pressure, you got, this microscopic plant stuff, the seeds, the leaves, all that stuff's hitting the air, giving me a little bit of brain fog I don't normally have. I think it's just a seasonal thing, but I do seem to be getting better. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump right into the analysis. So market's been all over the place. I actually had a feeling that this would be good for crypto. It seems just very strange. When there's good news, crypto goes down. When there's bad news, crypto goes up. I mean, right now, as I'm living and breathing, Bitcoin has gone on a run in the past hour and a half. So even this morning, Bitcoin's at 65,000. Now we're looking at 69,000. A very big rip as far as I'm concerned. That looks like it could be as much as, over here it says 4%, but this is a 24-hour chart. If we were to tighten this up to the bottom low, this is like a 7 or 8% run in just the past hour. So very interesting to see that happen. I think that we're going to probably be coming out of the bear market, possibly in a very rapid succession. Now, it's going to come at the expense of the U.S. stock market, and especially the bonds, and the Treasury market. I think is about to get slaughtered because it looks like the reverse carry trade. It really might happen anytime now. I'm going to just very briefly jump over to the Brent oil prices because this is what's this is nuts. Markets opened, for those of you that don't know, markets in Asia opened Sunday night for us here in the United States, so you can actually check this stuff out for yourself before you go to bed on Sunday. See what's going on in the Asian markets. It'll kind of give you an idea of what you're waking up to. We saw oil basically shoot up, and let me see if these charts right now on my screen, it's not loading. I'm just going to refresh my screen. Let's see if that helps here. Yep, there we go. So I moved it to a 7-day average. You can see like a vertical line. It shot up, and this is all due to the missiles going on in Iran, and all those neighboring countries. It's a very big problem. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. We can see that this is more than a 10% hike. So even just a week ago, we're seeing, low or high 10s, low 11s, shooting up almost as high as, at one point it got close to hitting 13,000 yen per barrel. It didn't quite get there, but it got close. I see this actually getting worse over time. We're really just looking at the first couple of days of this. What's it look like when the Strait of Hormuz is maybe not closed, like textbook definition closed, but if nobody's going through it, it's basically the same effect, right? So even if Iran's not saying, by the way, I got a little bit of congestion right now. I just showered. That sneeze I had a second ago kind of backed me up a little, but maybe the Strait of Hormuz is not officially closed, but if all of the insurance companies are saying, hey, don't sail, we're not going to pay out, then it's effectively closed, because if ships aren't going through, they're not going through. Now, I do believe Iran is letting certain ships through, like Chinese and Russian ships. I have seen rumblings of that. I'm not there. It's hard to know if we're getting real information, especially in the AI era. You almost don't know what's real and what isn't. So you really have to cross-examine as many different sources as you can. We live in an interesting time. It'd be nice to just get the real information when it comes out. But I've seen a lot of AI videos over the weekends, and some videos being posted that might have happened in like 2010 or earlier and saying, look what just happened. Well, no, that video is actually 15 years old. So it's not a good situation. It's hard to get real factual news, but we can at least come here and see that the oil prices have shot up in the past, 48 hours since the markets opened Sunday night. Things are looking pretty sticky over there in Asia, and I think this is going to continue running up throughout the week, because the oil problem, it's just going to get worse over time. I would imagine that Europe and Asia probably have some oil reserves that probably saw this thing coming for a while now. I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock not to know that this was coming. We didn't want it to come, but it came, and here it is. So this is, this is happening. If I'm Japan, if I'm Korea, I probably plan for this in advance, have a couple months worth of oil stocked up. What happens when that runs out? Well, this thing, it's at 12,000 now. I mean, let's see what happens if it shoots up to 15,000, 20,000. I mean, you guys, it would be pretty scary if the price of oil more than doubles in Japan. And then I can't stress this enough. I mentioned it in my video over the weekend. The reverse carry trade will probably make us XRP holders very wealthy. It's going to come at the expense of a lot of other people. And so this is my perspective on it, and we mentioned this a little bit in my video on Saturday, and I communicated with some of you guys in the comment section. There's nothing that we can do to stop these things from happening. So if we know they're going to happen, it would be foolish not to put your money where the winning basket's going to be. But I would really caution, from more of like a mental health point of view, not to cheerlead for this stuff going on. If you watch the movie The Big Short, there's these two young, I don't know what you want to call them, day traders or brokers running a boutique asset management company, and they predict that the housing market's going to crash. So they short the market, and they're in Vegas after there's some conference in Vegas. I forget what it was exactly, but you can watch the movie The Big Short and see this. They're in the casino celebrating after the event, saying, "Oh my gosh, we're going to become super rich." And then Brad Pitt's character just said, "You guys just bet against the American economy. Do you understand that?" And I see parallels here where it's like, okay, this thing could end up making XRP. I mean, guys, who even knows what the final number would be? But it's going to come at the expense of a lot of innocent people. And for me, that I just have a hard time feeling good about that. So, I mean, just keep that in mind. This thing could happen any day now. I mean, I'm watching these oil prices. The more missiles that get shot out, probably the higher this is going to go. But just understand, those missiles are going towards real people. That's all I'm saying. Back to the overall crypto markets. Everything is pretty much up in the past, really couple of hours, in fact. When I woke up, XRP was at 133, and now it's at 141. This could be one of those days. I mean, it's still just 11 a.m. here in North America, at least on the Eastern time zone. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is a day where it just goes on an absolute rip. It could happen. I think XRP in particular is probably going to break away from the overall market as soon as the liquidity crisis with the Japanese yen hits. So I've said on this channel a few times, I'll say it again here. I do believe that XRP is going to go first. That's why I've always been kind of harping on people. Not financial advice. At the end of the day, do what you want, but if there was ever a winning strategy, it would be to load up on XRP first, then eventually rotate. And when I say rotate, I don't mean sell your XRP. I just mean move your free-flowing capital, like paycheck money, or maybe some of you guys have rentals, whatever, retirement. Move that new cash flow into things like HBAR, Flare, Quant. I'm still thinking XRP is probably the best thing you could buy right now, sitting there at that #1 slot. I think Flare is #2. As much as I like HBAR, and I really do like HBAR, I think that, HBAR for me is definitely #3. It's just, when it comes to Flare, because they are essentially the yield layer for XRP now, and it looks like Ripple is okay with them being that, by the way. I'm thinking, well, okay, this is like a Batman and Robin scenario, and if we all think XRP is Batman, then of course Robin, who'd be Flare, is going to succeed by association, right? So they make each other better. I look at Flare and I'm thinking, this is probably going to be a token that ends up in the top 5 to 10 on CoinMarketCap before too long. I mean, it could even pass up. If I go back to the, by the way, I got to clear my congestion real quick. I'm sorry about that, guys. It's like 45 degrees, so you know how it is in the springtime. Just a little bit of warm air starts to get all those trees flowing again. And so I don't know if it's pollen or seed or whatever it is. I've never been the allergy guy. I just know that I got them. Anyways, I could see Flare jumping in and kicking some of these guys down. Now, just so you guys know, I don't really factor in stable coins when I think about market cap. So Tether's at number 3, USDC's at number 6. Really, I would say it's, Bitcoin, ETH, BNB, and then XRP. So XRP would be number 4. By the way, BNB has passed XRP in total market cap, but not too happy with Binance in general. So I don't really I don't have any BNB, and I probably would never buy any. But if you don't know, Binance has been in the news a lot for the past month for using algorithm bots to basically crash the market repeatedly. Anytime that these markets go on a run, and there's a big thing. One of you guys, Siempre from the channel, put me on this one. I didn't even know about it until he brought it up to me, about the Jane Street controversy. Now, I've been kind of catching up on that. I still have to do my research to make sure I get all the details right. But it sounds like there's been trading algorithms that intentionally sell Bitcoin every morning at 10 a.m., like clockwork. And I guess that's, been killing a lot of the momentum lately, because these trade bots, they're not like you and I. They don't have to hit the buy and sell button. Like these things are moving like inhumanly quick. Like there's nothing that you can do to compete against a bot trader. And so all these bots are dumping Bitcoin and buying it back up, and it causes the price to stay down. And a lot of people are getting screwed by this, you guys, especially people that, play the leverage game. They got shorts contracts, they got long contracts. You don't know which way any of this is going to go, because some bot farm is going to go in and manipulate the market. I think it's actually a really big problem. Real quick, I want to address this. Just came up in the chat. Sunset Beach says, how much XRP do you hold? That's I appreciate the question, but it's not something I'm comfortable with answering. So I'm gonna have to leave that one there. In general, you guys, I really don't think it's a smart idea to be telling people what you hold. For one, look, on just a personal level, people that go around talking about their money are just unlikable. This is an opinion of mine. Whenever you guys, I'm sure, have seen it. You go to the bar, somebody tells you he's got a parlay on some football game or whatever, and he starts bragging about how he made $2,000. Like, in my mind, I'm just like, I kind of like this person just a little bit less now that he's bragging about money that he made gambling. It's similar to talking about stocks or talking about crypto. I'm in group chats where people will send screenshots of their crypto portfolios or their stock market portfolios, and it just gets to me like, I kind of just like these guys a little bit less. But then you also have to think of the safety side of things. Nobody gives a crap about XRP being at $1.40. Let's see how people act when XRP's in the triple digits. Personally, I don't want that kind of heat on me. Now, if you're a critical thinker, the fact that I'm making these videos at all probably tells you that, hey, on some level, I'm probably a well-positioned XRP holder, or I'm someone who knows about this stuff enough to be making videos about it. Probably is buying a lot of XRP. Ricky asked, what about the percentage of my portfolio? I guess I can reveal that one a little bit. Crypto is still altogether less than 20% of my total portfolio. So for those of you that may not know, I've covered it in some of my normal videos, but maybe not on the stream as much. Before I got into crypto, I was very active on the financial independence subreddit. So, I was on there posting my own due diligence and research. Before I ever got into crypto, I actually wanted to become a financial advisor. I've been maxing my 401k every year that I've been employed. Roth IRA, once I was making enough money to do those, I did the 401k first. It's debatable whether that was actually a good idea or not, but it is what happened. And then I also have an HSA and something called a VUL. So before I was ever buying crypto, I was maxing out all these different retirement accounts. It was mostly just the Vanguard 500. I had a few stock picks in my late teens to early 20s that didn't play out very well. I put some money into Snapchat and watched that thing go from, I think I lost probably around 70% on Snapchat when I eventually pulled out of it. It was so long ago, I don't really remember, but if I'm looking at a max chart here of Snapchat, let me see if I can get a better looking chart, something that's more full screen. Yeah, this might be better. So I bought Snapchat, man, it had to have been, I don't know. This was years ago. It was before this big run up. I think it would have been around here. So I think I would have bought Snapchat probably sometime around 2017. The exact numbers I don't remember anymore. I just remember I was a college-aged kid back then. So this would have made sense. I graduated college in 2015. So I would have bought somewhere around here. I know I bought it around the time it IPO'd, so this would kind of check out. It was looking like it opened at around 24, 25 bucks. I rode this thing all the way down until it was at like $5 or $6. This was over the span of a year and a half. I eventually said, I'm done with this thing. I sold it on a loss so that I could write that off against my capital gains and kind of make it a tax write-off, and I got out of Snapchat. So this really kind of chapped my ass, so to speak, as far as picking stocks go, because I was like, well, all these tech stocks are blowing up like crazy. Snapchat was like the #1 app that people my age were using. I mean, you were almost Snapchatting your friends more than you were texting them. It was certainly very big in dating, right? So I don't got to go too far into the specifics there, but you meet a girl, you almost ask for her Snapchat before you ask for her phone number, and we won't go into the specifics there, but I think a lot of you guys probably can put 2 and 2 together. Well, anyways, I used that information to be like, oh, this app is gonna this is gonna be the thing that rips. Well, it ended up doing the opposite. After that, I just said, you know what? I don't know anything. I'm just some guy. I'm gonna buy the Vanguard 500, and that's what I did. I bought this thing for probably. Let me get a better chart here. I bought the Vanguard 500 religiously for about a decade. So this was before I had ever discovered crypto. A majority of my holdings are still, now the chart's not loading, but to answer your question, I would say that even today, despite the fact that I've been selling my Vanguard 500 for crypto, I'd say my Vanguard 500 is still probably 70 to 80% of my overall portfolio. So just to kind of give you some perspective of why I don't really care that the crypto market's down is because, it's not my whole, I don't have my whole life savings in crypto, but it is the only thing that I'm buying. I have not bought anything that was not crypto since around mid to late 2024. Up and including not contributing to a 401k anymore. So that is, what I'm doing. You guys can do your own things. My reasoning for not contributing to the 401k is because, for one, I've already, I had 10 years of maxing out my 401k. So in some ways you could argue that maybe I'm overextended on my 401k. I don't exactly want to wait until I'm 59 years old to touch money that I've been investing in. And the only thing you can really do is pay the tax penalty on it, or the withdrawal penalty, which is a flat 10%. And then it comes out as income tax. So next thing you know, like if you were to try to pull out $1 million out of your 401k, you'd actually only end up with like maybe 600,000, maybe like 550,000. It's a pretty bad deal. So in general, I mean, whether crypto works out or not, here's some game I'll put you guys on. You should never invest in a traditional IRA ever again. Only invest in Roth programs, Roth IRAs, Roth 401k. That's because you don't pay any income tax when it's time to withdraw it. Especially, you know, not to get political again, we seem to all know which way the wind is blowing in terms of American politics. There's a good chance that 20, 30 years from now, taxes are higher than they are right now. If taxes are higher in the future than today, well, great. Now my 401k is even more useless because, you know, you look at your 401k balance and you're like, oh man, I'm up so much. But then you go to withdraw it and it gets hit with income tax. Okay, cool. So right off the bat, you're losing a quarter of your 401k just by withdrawing it. Then if you want to retire early, now you're pulling another 10% on top. It's like, man, you just forget about it. So I'm no longer contributing to a 401k, even if I do go back to work, which will probably happen in the near future. I'll still stream, by the way, guys. I probably just have to change the hours from lunchtime to nighttime. I know some of you guys are in Europe. I'm trying to figure out a way to make everybody happy, but as much as I like doing this, this is more like a hobby than a full-time job. I think that's you know, maybe if I was doing this for another 2 years, yeah, maybe, but at least for now it's not. So anyways, 401k, it's done. You can contribute to a Roth 401k, you contribute to a Roth IRA. Those are fine. Probably would still do that, but then you also have to kind of reconcile the fact that you still can't really buy crypto that easily with a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA yet. I mean, sure, you can get the ETFs, and the ETFs are better than nothing, but you still don't have custody of your own tokens. So for me, that's a big deal. I do have quite a substantial amount of the Franklin Templeton XRP ETF. It's in my Roth IRA. I won't say how much I converted, but it was a pretty decent amount. I don't have custody of those tokens, so I can't stake them, I can't wrap them, I can't use them for borrowing and lending. It's better than not having them at all, but I would still much rather have the actual asset so that I can work with it. So that's why that's my perspective on that. Let's see, what should we jump to next? I got a little off the rails there. Well, in general, markets are up at least in the past 24 hours. I'm going to jump down to Flare before we go and look at other charts. Flare also up. You know, everything moves. You got to see all these algorithm bots are doing all these trading. What's going on, David? You can see that when every asset moves the exact same way, there's a lot there's a lot of screwiness going on with these trade bots. I would like to see something happen with that. I don't know what you do about it, but it's definitely not. None of this is organic growth. When you have those trading bots that are just nuking Bitcoin and then the rest of the altcoin market falls, I think that there's some definite screwiness going on there. Robert asks, what are my thoughts on the iTrust Capital and crypto coins? I'd have to look more into that. I don't know if I've got a good answer for you that yet. I have to do some research on it. And then Steph's saying, I knew the big institutions like BlackRock and Vanguard, but I'd never heard of Jane Street until Friday. They do seem pretty dodgy, allegedly. Yeah, I'm going to have to do some research on that, but the whole Jane Street stuff, it's pretty upsetting, actually. If you really think about it, it should actually really upset you, because this is our money that they're screwing with. And so I'll do more research on the Jane Street thing so that I can actually give an actual opinion on it with real facts. I've seen the headlines, I've seen the buzz. I don't have enough of the specifics yet to report on it, so I'll have to kind of do my own research, if you will. But off the bat, I can say I'm at least not happy with it. Real interesting stuff. Japanese bond has like pretty much, I mean, it's fallen off not off a cliff, but it's going down here. And I see some movement in the comments. I'm going to address your comments in a minute or two here. I just want to get through the Japanese 10-year bond. Looking at the past month, I mean, this is really the first time in a year where the JP10Y is actually moving down. I think the reverse carry trade has already, to some degree, begun. I just don't know how much has happened, and it hasn't affected XRP's price yet. Let's see. Maybe they're giving the yen. If you don't know, if you take a loan out in yen, you have to pay it back in yen. So maybe right now these loans are being paid back with yen. There might be, and this is kind of to Jake Claver's credit, there might be a yen shortage if the price of oil gets too much higher. Now, you know, $12,000, yeah, 12,000 yen, you know, that's a pretty sharp increase from the 10,000 that it was around 2 weeks ago. Still probably not enough to force a reverse carry trade. Let's see, could this thing over the next couple of weeks or next couple of months get up to 20,000? I bet that would do it. You know, essentially doubling the cost of oil doubles the price of everything else. So something like that could cause a yen liquidity shortage very quickly. And then, as you guys know from domino theory, that would mean, you know, Japan starts accepting XRP as payment. You know what that means? Who knows what the dollar amount ends up being, but I bet you would be more than $1.40, right? So I've been thinking every $1 trillion that goes towards the reverse carry trade would add about $15 to XRP's price. So you kind of just do some simple napkin math with that. If the reverse carry trade needs $2-3 trillion to settle, that'd bump XRP up to around $50. That would be enough for other factors in the world to start piling in. Because it's not like the reverse carry trade's it's not like XRP was created for the reverse carry trade. Like, that's not its original purpose. It just happens to be this very convenient solution to a very specific problem. So you get XRP to $50, and then after that, it's off like it's like a horse around the track. You know, who knows where it goes if it gets there first. So we're keeping an eye on it. I'm going to address some of the questions in the chat real quick before we move on to silver and gold. So XD310 asks, how has the XRP ETF inflow been? We looked at this Friday. The three major ETFs, which would be Franklin Templeton, Bitwise, and then Canary, they're getting somewhere between 1 million to 3 million per day. Maybe I can just jump in real fast and show you guys, but it kind of takes a while to move around these charts, so I'll probably just show one. I have all these tabs. I just kind of keep them open so I can navigate things fast. But you can see there's not a whole lot of outflows. I'm looking at the Canary XRP ETF right now. There's not a lot of outflows here. There's really only been 2 days worth of negative flow. One was in December and the other one was in January. All of February was green, which it doesn't mean that people aren't selling. It just means that more money is going in than what's coming out. And the Canary ETF altogether has $420 million that's been invested into it. And the Franklin Templeton and the Bitwise one, they have a little bit less, but it's still comparable. It's over $1 billion in inflows. And just to give you something to stew on, this is all, by the way, happening as XRP does, you know, basically a 70% crash. Let's see what the ETFs look like when things start moving forward again. I would not be surprised. You know, you give XRP 3 months of positive momentum, I bet we see these ETFs start to very quickly increase. Right now, we're actually quite a minority in the investing world where The average everyday sentiment for XRP is extreme FUD. We're a very unique niche audience, right? All of us here, we still believe in XRP. The very average investor is like, oh, I lost money, I'm not touching it. We know better than that, but you got to remember. I don't mean to be lecturing you guys, but it's kind of like video games. Like a new Call of Duty game comes out, and all the diehard fans will go to Reddit to complain about it. Your average person will buy Call of Duty, play it for 3 or 4 days, and move on. And then they'll buy the next Call of Duty when it comes out, and so on and so forth. So the people that hang out in these online communities for a particular asset are an extreme minority, and I would say that those of us in this stream are included in that. So I'm expecting the ETF inflows to start ramping up once we start getting some forward price action again. And it could be a while before we have real price action unless the reverse carry trade really does hit. Then it would happen all at once. What's going on, Dean? And oh, I guess everyone's just saying good morning to Dean. I almost said, hey, Steph again, but I remember that you're already here. Let's see. We got ICANN. What is your understanding regarding selling losers to offset some gains from winners in terms of taxes? My tax accountant says I can only write off $3,000 per year. That sounds ridiculous. Well, I do think it's ridiculous that the cap is $3,000. But that is unfortunately what it is. Now, what you can do, and this is actually something I've done, is you can do what's called washing your stocks, or in our case, washing your crypto. So let's say, for example, you hold a certain amount on exchanges. It's a lot easier to do this on exchanges. Once you move it to a wallet, it becomes very difficult to do. You go on an exchange, let's say you had $10,000 of XRP on an exchange. It goes down to like $5,000. You sell your XRP and immediately buy it back. I mean, like immediately buy it back. You've now sold at, like a $5,000 loss. I guess you could just do 3,000 since that's the cap. But you can write off that 3,000 and you immediately buy your asset back. So it'll reset your cost basis, but you can at least lock in those losses. It's something that I do with my coins I don't care too much about, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana. I do have some of those I bought in 2024, so I use those to kind of absorb my losses. The reason it's hard to do that with a wallet is because once you transfer your funds off the exchange, they no longer have tax forms for that. So if I were to wash sale some of my HBAR or some of my XRP, you're not going to get the 1099 form for that. It's very, very hard to track that. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it becomes almost more trouble than it's worth. And even my own accountant said that. So if it's too much trouble for him, it's definitely too much trouble for me. So that's why if you want to hold some stinkers on your exchange, I fell for the pudgy penguins thing too. I harvested the pudgy penguins for a tax loss. I should have learned the hard way not to be buying crap like that. Dean says, it's hard not to feel down about it right now. I can understand how they'd feel that way, even feel the I wonder now and then. See, I'm not worried about it because, I'm in this for the technology. If you understand the technology first, then you understand that there's no way that this doesn't work out, because it's kind of like going from horses to the automobile. Like, if you're Henry Ford, like, of course, everyone's going to move on to the car. It's a no-brainer, right? We're moving from an old financial system to a new financial system. I have this theory that all this daily fluctuation in the price is actually meant to keep retailers away. That's my tinfoil hat theory for the day, but it's working on a majority of, like, again, I gotta say it, we're here as a very niche community. Your everyday person is not buying XRP or HBAR. And in some cases, they're not even really buying Ethereum or Solana anymore. I mean, even in the Ethereum and Solana spaces, you'd think the sky was falling. So I have a feeling, this is my tin hat theory, but this is all orchestrated to keep retail away so that institutions can get a complete stranglehold on the crypto market. And if you really, really, really unravel what that means, it means you want to hold on to this as hard as you freaking can, because wouldn't that mean that this really is going to go to astronomical levels if the power brokers of the world were artificially holding the prices low? I mean, why would they do that, right? So that's my perspective on it. I do think that we are going to see some crazy, crazy things in crypto. I just hate the way that it's playing out right now. I'll avoid the political side of the Iran topic as much as I can. But, you know, I'm waking up in the morning. I mean, the first thing I do, I usually check my portfolios. The first thing I did today was I head to Twitter to see what did I miss while I was sleeping. Iran's not just hitting military bases, they're hitting oil fields and oil facilities. I see what they're doing. And so I'm not going to choose sides. I'm just going to look at this from the perspective of the Iranian regime. If I'm an Ayatollah loyalist and they just took out my leader, if it looks like the writing is on the wall, then there's no victory condition, right? There's no condition where you can win. So making everyone else suffer would then be a good consolation prize. And I see that playing out in real time. Iran is basically hitting any country that has been friendly with the United States. So that would be the UAE, that would be Kuwait, that would be Bahrain. I get why they're doing it, and I'm not defending them the same way I would not defend a grizzly bear, right? But if you poke the bear, expect the bear to be violent. And I think that's what we're seeing play out. I think it's going to continue getting worse, actually. I don't think we've seen nearly the end of this thing play out. You know, first they hit because here's the thing, it's like a butterfly effect. First they hit the means of production for oil, and then places outside of the Middle East will feel the effects of that. You could see famine, you could see widespread civil unrest in other countries due to some of these things. Like, if the price of oil gets too crazy, then like supermarkets are directly tied to oil prices because oil is what ships food to the market. So if people in other Asian countries can't afford food anymore, then you'd have civil unrest there. This thing has a way of opening cans of worms we didn't even think possible. And so that's why I'm like really not happy about this whole situation. I think it was very reckless to get involved in this. It's kind of like, imagine there's a tree with hornets in it, you know, and you're walking by this tree and you're like, oh my gosh, this tree has hornets in it. That's awful. Think of all the other things living in that tree. But then you think about it some more and you're like, well, this tree's not really on my property. In fact, I'm not even in my own neighborhood. I'm actually visiting my friend who lives in North Carolina, and I live in Michigan, and maybe I should just leave this tree alone. It's unfortunate what's going on inside this tree with all the hornets, but it's not my tree. If I go and hit this hornet's nest, who knows what's going to happen to the surrounding area. And I'm not from here. Maybe I should just go home. And then you do go home and it's like, oh, well, we have hornets and trees at home. Maybe my attention should be focused on taking care of the hornet nests in my own neighborhood and not the hornet nest in a neighborhood 10 states away. That's where my mind is at, but you guys can extrapolate that however you like. Tell me if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong. I don't see any point in going after hornets' nests in a tree that's not in my neighborhood. And that's my perspective. Logan says he's watched my newest video. I highly appreciate that. Is that the new video that I did on Saturday, or is that the Flare specific video? Because I did have 2 videos come out kind of quick back to back. Steph says, I just feel 2028 will be the year that things go more mainstream for a couple of reasons, but will continue and grow the biggest in prices in 2030. I do think that we probably have only one more crazy run up before the market starts to level out and become, how do you put this, like a little bit more predictable. I do think the volatility is going to go down over time. So, and I know a lot of people hate on Bitcoin, and I don't like Bitcoin either, but there's no denying Bitcoin is the mainstream product in the crypto market. And for that reason alone, people are going to continue buying it. I wouldn't be surprised if this time next year Bitcoin is at around $200,000 or maybe even higher. Some people might say like, oh, well, if you think it's going to be 200K, why aren't you buying it? It's like, because XRP is going to do that and more, at like a factor of 10. I'm going to jump over to my spreadsheet real quick. I did a video on this yesterday, but I figured now is a good time to brush up on it. This has been going pretty well. This is my Flare data set. We did the first episode yesterday. For those of you guys that watched this stream, really not any new news for you guys since we do update this thing in real time basically every day. But it was nice to be able to make that updated video. I'll probably eventually get this into a state where you guys can get your own display version of it. But right now, it's kind of sloppy. I haven't really organized it beyond just my own record keeping. So once I get down to August, I'll clean this thing up. Probably make sure that, like, for example, I got this yellow highlighted box. You probably won't know what that means if you're not me. So, do things like that, and then maybe put this in a display mode for you guys to see. All in all, I still think that staking is probably the most lucrative thing that you can do with your Flare. Now, I know that there's new options out there, including Scepter and Spark DEX. For now, I'm only staking my Flare on the Flare network, and that's just simply because, one, I don't want to spread myself too thin here, and two, anytime you lend your assets out, you do have to have 100% trust in the thing that you're lending out to. I trust the Flare network. I still need to see the proof when it comes to SparkDex and with Scepter. Not saying that I don't trust them, but it needs to be a trust but verify. I need to see the evidence. But I'm also at the same time not trying to spread myself too thin here. For this experiment, I went out and bought new tokens. I'm not trying to go out and buy and take what I'm already using as an experiment. That's just a kind of way to protect myself, that if something does go wrong, it's with something I recently bought. It's not part of my main stash. So for now, I'm just doing the Flare network, and we'll tackle Scepter at a later time, but it could be a good option for people that wanna get that. I don't think that there is a new delegation reward. We may as well log it now. Wait, is this right? The timing doesn't seem to make sense to me. Huh. So right now it's March 2nd, and I have a claim reward for 50. We'll get a nice screenshot of this bad boy here. Let's see here. What is this? March. Oh, it's March 2nd, not March 3rd. I would have thought this wouldn't have paid out until at least tomorrow at the earliest, but if it's here, it's here. March 2nd. So, oh, that's real interesting, guys, because I claimed this thing. Oh, you know what? It could be that I may have claimed my epoch a day late, so maybe this one should have been a day earlier. That could be what happened. Well, in any case, I'm gonna log it. We saw it today, so I've got to put it here in the box. Real easy stuff. If you guys haven't done this before, I'm on the Bifrost wallet. I mean, this is how easy it is to claim these rewards. I'm just going to do it here on the stream. I'll just hit claim reward, and then boom, you guys can see I got the little box that pops up on the phone. I just got to hit confirm. I don't even need to use the QR scanner when I'm on Bifrost. The user experience here is very good. You hit the button, give it a second or two, it clears, and boom. Check that out. We just claimed our Flare reward. So that's how easy it is. Super easy stuff, you guys. If you're not already wrapping, I would, as much as I can say it without the financial advice, I would say to go ahead and do it. But of course, that would be financial advice. So I can't exactly say that. So I'm going to say that I can't say that. If that makes sense, right? So that's pretty cool. Got that. We're not going to see a stake reward for quite a while, so we're all good there. Let's see how Mystic's doing. Mystic's been doing pretty nice. Now, the thing about Mystic here, I actually put a lot more in than I was planning to, and that's only because Firelight got delayed. So I didn't want to have my Firelight, or I didn't want to have my FXRP just sitting there not doing anything. So I did accelerate my FXRP and the Mystic all the way up to 1700. Now, ideally, I'd like to be equal parts FXRP in the Mystic and in the Firelight, but that's just not how it played out. So I had to, you know, gotta log the real numbers here. And I didn't want to just have tokens sitting there not doing anything. So that is why we're getting a pretty juicy getting a pretty juicy RFLR reward out of Mystic. Now it's only around 3%, so I mean that's not. Oh wow, dropped down to 1.2%. Hold on. That's actually not very good, you guys. Am I looking at this right? Are you guys seeing the same thing I'm seeing? So, Core FXRP has a native APY of 0% plus the rewards. Huh. It's actually not very good, you guys. It was higher last week. It was 3%. Now it's down to 1.24. Yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. That's not very good. So it says right here, token rewards. Flare operates this incentives program independently, and Mystic was not involved in its distribution. Okay. But then the native APY is also 0%. Well, hey guys, this is why we're here experimenting, right? Because I'm pretty disappointed about this actually. So Huh. Stavos says, I'm not entrusting my future to this dystopian. Man, I hear you. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not happy about these numbers, if I'm being honest with you. But that's why I'm here to do the research for you guys, so that you don't have to do it yourself. But I mean, 1.5% is basically nothing, you know. Like you're almost better off not doing it if it's going to be that low. So a little disappointed to see that. I don't know why that would be, but I also don't want to just sing the praises of something that's not performing well. You see a lot of that on Twitter. People like overhype things. I'm not trying to be one of those people. If something doesn't look good to me, I'm going to be honest about it. And a 1.5%, that I don't understand why it's so low, but not happy about that. So these are my numbers for the day. You know what? Staking is still good. The delegations are still good. So the Flare token itself, I'm happy with. It's the FXRP that does not seem to be delivering quite what I want it to. And I think it's weird that the native APY for it is 0. I would like to see if there's a way to, you know, I'm on the dashboard and I'm not seeing a, because I don't want to borrow, right? I want to supply. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because I'm not supplying FXRP for this. I wish there was some better explanations to how this dashboard works. So no, I think when you go to earn and you put your XRP in the vault, I think that's going to be different from the borrowing. I think borrow is quite literally what it means. So like I would put my FXRP in to receive a different asset, but I don't necessarily like doing that kind of stuff. I'm not really a money lender. I try to avoid that area as much as I can. So for me, that doesn't necessarily, not as attractive, but I'm curious though why the APY on this thing is so low, because that doesn't make sense to me. But there's nothing we can do about that for now. So I'll keep data recording on that. We'll see how Firelight does. Because Firelight does go to phase 2 on March 18th. We might get a better idea of what the yield looks like on that. If nothing else, the Flare network itself is very reliable. So, I mean, as you can see, I'm collecting, you know, like 50 Flare every couple of days. Pretty awesome, especially considering that, you know, 50,000 Flare is really not that much money. That's like less than $500. If you could imagine, if you had like 1 million Flare, you'd be collecting like, well, let's just play that out. 1 million is 50,000 times 20. So if I'm pulling 50 Flare rewards times that by 20, what is that, 1,000? Am I doing the math on that right? If you had 1 million Flare wrapped up, you'd be getting like 1,000 every couple of days. How many epochs are there a year? Let's do 365 divided by 3. Oh, I did 354. Hold on. 365 divided by 3.5. So there's 104 of these a year. If you were getting 1,000 per epoch, Is that right? Oh, that almost looks too good. Huh. Well, that's almost too good, because that would be like around 10%. Well, I did the numbers here off of the epoch I just got. I wonder if there's something going on here that's iffy. Figuring this stuff out in real time, you guys. So we saw that today I really did log a 50 flare epoch out of the delegation. It seems really high. I'm not going to complain that it's high, but it just seems higher than... Let's go to Catalytica and take a quick look at its... let's see, where's the bookmarks thing? There's usually a little star around here. There we go. Catalytica, where are you? Thought I saved it. Oh, maybe I saved it on my laptop. That's what I probably did. All right, here we go. So we're gonna do find anchor. So the historic annualized for anchor is 6.94%, and its current APY is 6.6. The staking is at 13.8. I wonder if sometimes they might have like a slow week, so they like true up on the following week. I don't know. This is interesting stuff. We're figuring this thing out as we go. So if I had 50,000, hold on, let's see, 50. Divide this thing by that. And then how many was there? There's 104 of these a year. Yeah, okay. If I was to get 50 every time, I'd be getting 10.5% on my delegation rewards. Huh. I wonder if this factors into, at the beginning of February, I was getting 0.43 for February 3rd, and then I got 0.43 again for February 6th. So I wonder if they've been throwing some extra reward to make up for the lost time earlier in the month. And maybe before February 1st, maybe a couple of the previous delegation awards were also lackluster. I wonder if that's what's going on. Because I think a reward of like 34 would be a little bit more consistent with what we should be expecting. So if I take 33.97, divide that by 50,000, and then multiply that by 104 payments a year, this looks more like it. 7.06%. That would make sense to me. Now, I'm not going to complain that I'm getting epochs with like 50 tokens, or in some cases 55 for having only 50,000 wrap flare. Now, granted, wrap flare is going up a little bit, but it shouldn't change those numbers too much, at least not at these levels. It's interesting. I will keep monitoring this. I mean, hey, this is what the spreadsheet is for, is to collect data and figure this stuff out. One way or another, I'm happy that I'm getting some flare out of this. So, I mean, the wrapping and staking has been pretty lucrative so far. Collateral pool has been okay. I wouldn't call it great. I wouldn't say that it's bad either. But it's definitely not as good as what I've got from Anchor's wrapping and also from the staking. The staking, I think next time will probably be somewhere around like 220, maybe 240. Let's see what that one looks like. In fact, we could kind of calculator this one out. If we get a 220, that would be 220 divided by 50,000. Now we know there's going to be 26 payouts because it goes out every 14 days. And then that would give me about 11.44%. So if I get a 220 stake reward next period, I'll be pretty happy with that. 11% to me is pretty good. I could take that. I don't necessarily need it to be more than that. But it does say that I will get somewhere in the realm of 13.86, so we'll just have to see. Nonetheless, 11% rewards is pretty nuts. Good luck even getting that in a REIT. If a REIT were to pay 11%, that would mean that there's something wrong with their financials, and they're just basically giving away money to incentivize you to keep holding. You don't actually want yields to be that high. But I think in crypto's case, we can make an exception just given the circumstances. I forgot to look at silver and gold, so why don't I just pop back over to that? A little surprised that these have not continued to run up. I mean, if you look, silver and gold, just like our buddies in crypto, I mean, they're basically moving side by side. This is a clear indicator to me of trading algorithms. I think we have a trading algorithm problem. Now, some of this is definitely due to, the war kicking off, but I wouldn't expect silver and gold to crash quite like. Well, I wouldn't expect the prices of silver and gold to move as much as the price of oil is, because oil is the product that is under attack right now. Silver and gold not so much. So I wasn't expecting this to change too much. However, a lot of those long contracts on silver are expiring, so I'm a little surprised that it has not moved very aggressive to the upside. In fact, it's kind of had a sharp sell-off. We got up to 96, now it's down to 87. So interesting stuff. I think silver really should be more valuable than $87. So we'll see how that plays out. Happy for you guys that have silver. I think that's pretty cool. Wish I could join you, but that ship has sailed. At this point, I'll just be sticking to crypto. And I think I got through basically everything that I was going to look at for today. We could look at the Hashpack wallet. Not a whole lot to look at here because this is on a wallet that has only 5 HBAR on it. But I can at least show you that there are rewards. So here's my Hashpack wallet. I'll go to staking and we'll see once this thing loads that I got some pending rewards. So I would have thought by now that I would actually have the rewards. Maybe, I have to hit the button. That's probably why. See, I haven't used this thing before. Well, let's do it live. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna hit collecting rewards. Let's see if it makes me do anything. Oh, I have to have my wallet connected, which I don't currently have. Now I'm trying to decide, do I want to go mess with that? Because then I'd have to go and get it. Nah, I'll just do it. Actually, I'm sorry, guys. This is some hardcore paranoia on my part. But if I go get this wallet, someone's going to be able to figure out how long it took me to go get it. And I know this is some hardcore paranoia. But then they'd be able to be like, oh, I bet I know what room it's in based on how long he was gone. So maybe we'll collect it tomorrow and I'll have that wallet on me when I stream. Maybe we'll do it that way. I do have the Hashpack app on my phone. Maybe I can claim it that way and just kind of show it to you guys without having to grab the wallet itself. That's kind of the key factor here is the wallet. I'm going to cover up my wallet address here, but I don't want you guys seeing my wallet address. This is some hardcore paranoia, you guys. I wouldn't be a crypto bro if I wasn't. All right, there we go. Since I have, oh, hey, there we go. I've collected 3 HBAR. Look at me, guys. I'm balling now. Lamborghini mode activated. I just claimed 3 HBAR. We're going to Ruth Chris tonight. Get the caviar out. I'm messing around, but hey, when HBAR is at like $100, I really do think it's gonna be $100. I actually probably could have gone to Ruth Chris with that. Now that I think about it, 3 HBAR, that'd probably pay for a night at Ruth Chris. What do you guys think? Roberto asks, has there been any news on the Clarity bill? It's been very wishy-washy. Clarity's in, Clarity's out. Nothing's really moved on it since Iran got blown up. I wish there was better news to say on that one. There we go. $300 will get you a couple napkins and a glass of water. Oh, don't say that. You're killing my dreams. You're telling me I'm gonna have to buy double the HBAR and then get 6 token rewards? I guess if you're gonna pull my leg. No, the Hashpack app's pretty easy to use. I would still say Flare is slightly easier from an end user experience just because the Hashpack has a little bit more steps just to get it started. But once you have the Hashpack wallet, especially if it's on your phone, pretty easy to use. So 2.5%, nothing. I mean, it's not really that great, but it's better than 0. I would like to see in general maybe a little bit more incentives market-wide. I thought that if you're just joining or if you've been watching, I think 1% for the Mystic. I'm not too happy with this. I'm looking at this. I'm really scratching my head and wondering, what's going on here? Because even just a couple of days ago, it was at 3%, and then 2 weeks ago, it was at like 6 or 7%. So, I just don't see 1.5% being worth the risk, if I'm being honest with you guys. But we'll just see how this thing shakes out. That's why I'm here to do all the experimenting. I do think that's interesting to see that Wrapped Flare still has a 15% on here, which is actually very good. Might be worth considering putting some Wrapped Flare into this instead. Not sure what the deal is with the FXRP, but you could also, you could also put in US dollars here, so the stable coin, and get 14% back in Flare. And oh, look at this one. This one's actually pretty interesting. The native APY for this one is going to be 3%, but then Flare is giving out an additional 11. It's no wonder the Clarity bill wants to get rid of stablecoin yields. By the way, if that thing goes through, this would actually become illegal. Something to kind of think about. Now, And it doesn't mean you're going to get arrested, but it means that Mystic would have to change how they do things. That would be a pretty big disappointment. By the way, Mystic is not just for Flare. If I switch from Flare to Plume, there's a whole bunch of different stuff that you can do. One's with the Morpho coin, then you have all these other coins. So there's all these coins. Like there's a coin for everything. It can be it can be a lot to look at, but if this was something you were interested in, there's options. I'm just sticking with Flare for now. So cool stuff. Hopefully these numbers turn back around. We'll just have to see. I'm going to go back to this Polymarket thing. This thing is saying, according to the Polymarket, we've got a 70% chance of getting the Clarity Act in 2026. Now, does that mean we get it soon? Because if we're going to get the Clarity Act, it probably has to happen before April. So is there movement? It can be tough to... It can be hard to know. I mean, let's just do a quick Google search and just see if there's any new news on it. So, Clarity Act progress. Is there any progress here? Oh, I think ChatGPT could help us out, but I don't know for certain. Oh, I saw a headline from March 2. I don't know what this is. Let's just click it and see it. It might just be a junk article. Okay, will Clarity Act pass in March? Polymarket soar as Armstrong signals breakthrough in the stalemate. Ah. Oh, no, this is from February 21st. So this is... News travels fast in this market. An article from February 21st is already too out of date for us to really be able to use that information. We'd need something that was in the past day or two. Otherwise, it's no good. So we'll try another article. If this one doesn't have any info, we'll move on from it. Crypto world faces growing pressure to relent on stable coin rewards to win bigger prize. The stable coin yields are... I don't want to say it's a hill to die on, but it'd be naive to think that there's not a bigger reason at play for that. Mill and I did a video on this. If you guys want to check that out, if you haven't listened to it already, we talk about fractional lending and how the banks use your money and your savings accounts to multiply their wealth, sometimes by factors of like... if you give your savings account 10 grand, they might be able to lend that out multiple different times using, the imaginary money tactics that banks have to start turning your own 10 grand into an asset that makes them more than 10 grand a year. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. But that's why, if there are stable coin yields, you would hold your money in a stable coin and not the bank. And so it becomes a big problem for the banks, which we all want the banks to fail. So it's kind of like, I don't know. The stablecoin thing for me is like, I wasn't personally going to use it, but it feels like a loss nonetheless to not have it. Sorry, I'm skimming this to see, is there anything in here that's actually substantial? I don't know if there really is. Would an absence of clarity mean the industry continues without regulations? Probably not. In the meantime, the clock is ticking away on 2026 Senate floor time. Yeah, that's true. It has to happen sooner than later, or else it's going to end up dead in the water. In any case, I don't think there's any substantial news yet, at least for the week, as far as the Clarity Act is concerned. So we'll just have to kind of see. Steph says, I rewatched the 80s movie Secret of My Success. Starts working for a big institution and seeing how badly run and corrupt it was. He finds the legal way to fight back against them. Comes out on top and becomes a co-owner of the new company. Wasn't that interesting? Similar to crypto holders fighting back against the old system. Oh, and Steph says it's a comedy. So there we go. Mill Power says we do want the banks to fail because they are one of the main problems. 100% agree. It's a tough topic to talk about because if you say the wrong, well, I don't want to say the wrong things, but if you reveal too much all at once, next thing you know, you don't have a channel anymore. So there's definitely anything that benefits the bank by association hurts us, even if you weren't going to use the stablecoin yields. Personally, I wasn't going to hold stablecoins, but it's a loss for us. Dean says, I hate that stablecoins are what's holding up the Clarity Act when I currently have no interest in them. Yeah, I do get that. I mean, the whole point of crypto was to give us an alternative to using the international banking system. So, you know, logic dictates. It's just like I said with Iran being a bear, you poke the bear is going to start swiping. If you do anything that is against the banks, expect the ultimate pushback. So this was never going to be an easy win. I'm not surprised at all that the banks are responding this way. In fact, I'd be more surprised if they weren't, because why are they just going to let themselves lose ground for no reason? They wouldn't. But you can still be disappointed nonetheless. I think that's always a fair thing to do. I'm going to start wrapping things up here in a few minutes. I'm very cautious to head to Twitter right now because I don't know what's going to pop up when I do. One thing I will say, because I find this happening to myself actually, before I hit the button here, just as a little bit of a precaution when it comes to Twitter, for some reason, Twitter more than, Instagram or YouTube or TikTok seems to show me a lot of violence, and I can go on Twitter and find myself in a very bad mood very fast. So just be cautious when using Twitter. Now, you could make the argument that the videos you're seeing, as heinous as they are, they're records of things that have actually happened. So I think to some degree, it's good to at least be aware that certain things out there are happening. But at the same time, if you see the same type of footage repeatedly over and over, it can really affect your mental state in a bad way. So I've been trying to find the right level of Twitter to use. Now, I know some people that say you can switch from the For You to following, which is fine. But if I only see tweets from people I'm following, then I'm not finding new accounts to follow, if that makes sense. So to some extent, you have to be able to branch out a little bit. And I can guarantee you, if I start scrolling down, there's going to be some sort of, boom, there it is. It's just like all weekend. It's just missiles, missiles, missiles. I don't even know if some of these are AI generated or not, but you can't walk away from stuff like this and be in a happy state of mind, if that makes sense. And it's like I'm watching. I'm afraid to even watch this because it's like, is something gonna happen to these guys in the video? I don't know. Dubai got hit, which to me, Dubai getting hit is actually a very sobering thing, because when you think of Dubai, you think of the safest city, right? But not even Dubai is safe from the lashing out of Iran. And I'm not going to Iran's defense. I'm just saying, when you shake the hornet's nest, expect hornets to come out of the tree. I don't know why that is such a hard concept for people to grasp. I'm not saying that you guys aren't grasping it, but it's like, come on, if hornets come out of the hive to sting people after the tree gets shaken, you'd think after a while you'd be like, well, maybe shaking the tree isn't the best way to deal with some of this. But hey, I'm just some guy on YouTube. But it is really hard right now to get good crypto news, because basically all of this is like competing. And a lot of the crypto people, by the way, are also talking about, I don't know what just happened. Oh, there we go. I hit the gamer buttons on my mouse and it moved the screen around. There's buttons on this mouse more than just the left and right click. So we just I don't know. I probably won't spend too much more time. This looks like it's AI generated, but I probably won't stream for too much longer, since a lot of this stuff isn't really crypto. But it's hard to find the right crypto news right now, because even a lot of the crypto accounts are sharing Iran stuff. So it's a tricky situation. You have to cover it because it is related to crypto. I mean, it's related to crypto. You can't have one without the other. But I do wish there was some way to, I don't know, maybe if there was like a setting I could say, just show me the crypto stuff when I'm on Twitter, but it just doesn't work that way. Let alone all the street fights and stuff. Okay, that's actually pretty funny. That's even funnier. Oh man, I made this joke a few days ago, but I won't repeat it. Or actually, maybe I will repeat it. No, I won't repeat it. I'll repeat it on Discord. If you guys want to join my Discord, I'm a little bit looser, since not every single person on Earth can access the Discord. Let's see if any of you guys are in the waiting room for that. Ooh, we got 2 more people. Yeah, if you wanna talk to me, get to know me, join the Discord. It's a good opportunity to actually be able to have like a conversation with me, since I'm streaming. I see the live chats, but this is a way for us to have like a back and forth, and sometimes we even do video calls, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna start wrapping this up, because otherwise we're just gonna be going down the rabbit hole of things exploding, and then if you're in that space for too long, it starts to bring you down. So I'm gonna wrap things up. This week I plan on doing some more crypto related news. I want to look more into the Jane Street stuff, so I might do a video on that if I can get enough info on it. Otherwise, cool things coming out with Flare and XRP as far as products go. Firelight, a little disappointed with Mystic right now, but maybe it comes back around. In any case, the end game, you guys, is DeFi. I'm telling you, I know most of you already are on board with it, but DeFi is going to be the thing that actually shows the world that crypto is more than just a bunch of cartoon characters that you buy and sell to make ridiculous amounts of money. That DeFi will show people that this actually is the plumbing of the new financial system. So keep an eye out for this kind of stuff, guys. And not financial advice, but if you have flared, at least just delegate and wrap. I mean, I get if some of you guys don't want to stake, that's fine. I get it. But if you're not at least wrapping your flare, you're quite literally, it's like leaving free money on the table. It's like going to your job and not taking your 401k match. Which I mentioned earlier in the stream that I stopped contributing to. But this is a very specific, never mind. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll get through this period of tumultuous activity. Take care.